Ladies and gentlemen, we are back once again. It is Wednesday evening. This is the Rap Sheet Podcast. My name is Mr. DJ Daz1, the head nerd in charge, a.k.a. Mr. Open Format, a.k.a. I have a big-ass headache. But we're still here, and we're going to make things happen. So round of applause for everyone who's checking this out. There we go. Yes. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take a trip to the city of the Chi. I got love for Chicago because I think some of my favorite MCs represent Chi-Town. I could just name The Brat is one, Lupe Fiasco is another. I think the Big Homie Common is probably the biggest influence to a whole lot of MCs' careers. And there's just so many other great MCs that come out of Chicago. And now we have two more right here in front of me. Ladies and gentlemen, if you love grassroots hip-hop, if you love independent hip-hop, if you love family-orientated hip-hop, you've come to the right place, ladies and gentlemen, because we have two very pristine veterans in the game. And before we get into this, shout out to the legendary DJ Edition. Thank you once again for everything that you do in bringing me key figures in the game that need the spotlight, that don't get the spotlight, but deserve the spotlight. And these two are no exception. So, by way of Jackson, Mississippi, and if I say anything incorrect, these two will politely correct me and make sure I'm on the same page. We have Abstract Mind State. Please give it up for Olskool Ice. I don't want to butcher. Is it Gray? Is that
Gre, long E.
Olskool Ice-Gre and the one and only EP, the Hellcat. Welcome them to the show. Here we go. Yes, sir. Yes. Yeah. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. That's right.
I think we got a correction already though. We're not from Jackson. We're not from Mississippi.
We actually met in Chicago. We both from Chicago, but we met in Mississippi.
We went to school in Jackson, Mississippi. It's where we met at Jackson State University, but we're from Chicago.
All right. So I was kind of right, but kind of not right.
Yeah.
Thank you for the correction. Please forgive me for anything I say that is incorrect, but I wanted to make sure both places were represented in my introduction. So thank y'all for coming out this evening. I totally appreciate y'all taking out time from your busy schedules to join me. And we're going to let everyone know the whole Abstract Mind State story, starting from the very top. Either one of y'all can lead off can answer this one. When did either one of you or collectively, respectively, fall in love with hip hop?
You can go, Gre. You go first.
Whoa. Well, we got to take it back then. I fell in love with hip hop in 1982, 83.
Okay.
Probably 82.
Now, was it a song you heard? Did you?
Yeah. I found a song recently too, and now I can't remember. It was all this time I thought it was a Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5 record, but it was actually, I was halfway right. It was it was the Furious 5 battling, I think, Sugar Hill Gang. It was like a battle record on purpose, not like a real battle. They just kind of did it. And in that song, that was the song that got me going when I first heard that. I can't think of the name of it. It's crazy that I said I was going to never forget that because I always wanted to say it again, but I did. So,
that's the one you mentioned in the documentary, right?
No, I didn't say. Yes, I mentioned the bar in the documentary. But the other day, like a couple of weeks ago, I heard the song driving and I almost cried. I was going off. I was like, that's the one. Because they say at the bar that I always say a rhythm to the twist that they can't. And when I heard it, I was like, yo, that's the song. And I thought I took a picture of it or something. I might have to look. But
you know what? Sometime during this interview, when I'm speaking to the sister, look it up and see if you could tell us any of it, because I'm curious myself now.
Yeah.
I want to know what it is. But that's what's up, man. So shout out Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5 and Melly Mel, and shout out, of course, to the legendary Sugar Hill Gang.
Yeah.
Hellcat, what about you?
For me, I would say around 85, 86. It was a cat. I know I just happened to be trying to find a radio station. I think it was KKC at the crib. It was this cat on there called Strictly Love.
Okay.
And man, I was listening to the stuff he was saying, like it was so dope, and it made me start listening to more because I was more like even at that age, I was like R&B, old school music. My mom, my dad, and rock too. I listened to a lot of rock when I was younger too. I still do, but that's what like my roots came from, like rock and like soul music. I wasn't really into hip hop. I just happened to be trying to find something on the radio, and I came across that, and then I just started listening to the station. Then I heard Rakim. I was like, it's done. It was
that was WHPK.
It was a done deal.
That was HPK.
Yeah,
No matter where you are in the world, ladies and gentlemen, as soon as you hear Rakim, the world stops. Even after all this time.
You know what's funny? That was WHPK she was listening to. And I'm going to tell you what's funny about that station. WHPK is the same station that made me want to rap because I fell in love with, it was the Sugar Hill. That record made me fall in love with hip hop, but made me want to rap was Ice-T. He used to always play on WHPK. We from the Midwest, so we used to get the West Coast and the East Coast music. It wasn't, we sit in the middle. So you remember when Ice-T had DJ Glove and that whole thing? You see, that's when I was on Ice-T. So that's funny because me and her both got, it was that station and that music.
Before we get in more into your story, it's a lot of people don't know this, but Everlast of House of Pain first rolled with Ice-T and the Rhyme Syndicate.
Yeah, the Rhyme Syndicate. Yeah, come on now.
So do your history, ladies and gentlemen. Your favorite.
Hey, you got the real old school Ice-Gre on the phone now. We can talk.
Right, man. Hey, like I said, I just turned 50. I was so all day. My hoodie says it all. Look at that.
Right. You remember the group Masters of Ceremony?
Come on.
Okay, I'm just saying who who we got from that group.
I'm about to cam this man down.
Y'all need to talk on y'all own. Well, this is not going to be a hip hop historic lesson. Hey, we're not doing that.
My sister, I'm sorry, but you know how it get when the brothers get together.
But this always happens to me.
You're lucky we're not in the barbershop. It would have been worse.
Right.
For real.
Yeah.
I love it. I already love the energy in this room already, ladies. Just now checking us out, ladies and gentlemen. Please show your love to Abstract Mind State. They are in the building. We got the one and only Olskool Ice-Gre and EP the Hellcat. Now it says the shooter here, but I'm looking at it over here, and you had another name. You went by the White Lotus.
Oh yeah.
Please explain that real quick.
EP the Hellcat. AKA the White Lotus, AKA the teacher's last pupil, AKA the shooter.
Where did the White Lotus come from? Because that's a pretty sick name.
Hey, it came from my favorite. Well, not my favorite, but like my third or fourth favorite kung fu movie. It's called Fist of the White Lotus. Yeah, it's part two. It's like part two of Executioners from Shaolin.
Yeah. Oh man, now we and you can have a separate conversation about martial arts and lead the brother out of this. So we gotta tie it all in. How did you two initially meet?
We met at Jackson State on our way home for I think it was Christmas break. We didn't even know each other on the campus. We met when I was waiting outside the train station. I was sitting on a bench, and so Olskool and his cousin, which is also our manager, Lee, they walk up and they got bags of liquor, right? And so you could see through some of the bags. And the first thing I say is like, man, I forgot all of my liquor. I forgot my liquor. And Lee was like, you forgot your liquor. Now, mind you, I don't know them from John. You know what I mean? So Lee just holds up the bags like this. He was like, you good. And hey, that was the beginning. You know what I'm saying? That was the beginning.
Right. All right. You want to add to that? Oh, you want to add to that, Ice?
No, yeah, that's how it went down. And then, of course, we get on the train. And the famous thing about the train back then, coming from school or going to school, everything was about the bar car, because the bar car was where you can just kind of play your music, get wild, drink your drink, eat your food or whatever. And they once the train get going, kind of like how the plane, once the plane levels out at 30,000 feet, now you can get up and use the bathroom. Well, once the train gets going, and they on the smooth flow. Then they say, okay, you're welcome to go to the bar car. And all of the students would run to the bar car because we know we can get wild and loud, you know. Amen. And so in that wild, when that wild and loud that was happening, we pulled out the radio, of course. And I was the MC of the crew. So I started kicking rhymes. And just out of the blue, and, we had just met EP. So we was like, man, we all going to the bar car, let's roll. We all. And she just jumped in, like I kicked a couple of rhymes, and then she just jumped in out of the blue, and she was crazy. And everybody in the bar car was just like caught off guard, and they was like, oh, beating on the tables, and they was like, man,
well, we almost got put off.
Yeah, it was crazy. And then we was like, man, I was like, man, you dope, And she was like, you dope too. I was like, man, what's your name? And this is where it started. When I asked her what's her name, she said, well, I got a couple of names I'm considering, and I can't decide between the two. Maybe you can help. And I was like, I said, well, what's your, what you thinking? She said, well, I go by Ebony Portress, but I'm also thinking about the female Messiah. And I was like, well, why don't you just use both and call yourself Ebony Portress, the female Messiah? And then she was like, and I was like, man, she was like, yeah. And then I think she told me they know she's known that Danky, on the yard. Everybody was calling her Danky as her family nickname, but that's what several knew her on the yard is that. And she said, yeah, but on the yard they be calling me Danky. I said, wait a minute. I said, you the girl that they've been telling me about. And then she said, well, what's your name? I said, and I wasn't old school Ice-Gre then. I was just Ice-Gre. I was like, yeah, and I was like, man, I'm Ice-Gre. And she heard of me. And people was telling her about me, and they was telling me about her. And we met right then. And so it was just like one of those funny, poetic moments. And right away, she started giving me all the insight on, how like she do this thing, but she really don't have any, support. And she don't have a crew. Like I was telling about the crew. I'm going off about my crew and all that. She was like, yeah, I don't have a crew. I never really been in a real studio. I recorded one song. I got a demo, but I never even been in a major studio and I was like, man, I'm going to help you. You too cold. And so when we first got together, it was really me. It's funny because before I because I later, became an A&R because that was like, and did a lot of artist development. Really, that's what I was starting off with her. It was more like I was supposed to be grooming, artist development, A&R, and putting her down as one of the MCs in our crew. And, it ended up eventually turning into me and her becoming a group.
Amen and amen. So, for those that are not familiar with Jackson, Mississippi, like myself, what was the scene like musically and culturally at that time when you guys started getting together and doing what it is that you was getting ready to do for the masses to hear?
Mississippi, Jackson was much like being in the Midwest, because you know how people from Chicago moved to Mississippi and vice versa. Same like from Detroit. Like we had everybody. I think maybe the only place. Well, we did have a couple of people from Cali too. We did.
We definitely had. Remember, Cali had their whole little hill.
It was like everything was at Jackson State. Like, so we got all forms of hip hop. Like everybody, and actually the Stupa Stowaways, this crew that Gre had founded, like we even had Nigerians, like doing like it was just we had like Detroit, we had like they were from everywhere, and the hip hop scene actually in Jackson. I mean, it was Mississippi, so it was gangster. It was gangster, but you had a couple of groups in Jackson that did nothing but real hip hop too, and they quickly became a part of the Stupa Stowaways.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just now tuning in, Abstract Mind State is here, and we just going through the origins from the beginning to where they are now. So stay tuned, because it's going to be a rather smooth ride, as if we're in the bar car chilling on the train.
Right.
So let me ask right at this moment. So at this time, you guys are getting ready to form this group, form your narrative. What was the narrative that you guys wanted to project onto the world in the beginning stages?
I think our whole thing was just that, everything was about flavor. You got to have flavor, mad flavor. We just wanted to show that we were, and it's always been this way. We never let this part go. And even before EP, I was doing this. It was just showing our lyrical ability, our wordplay, being just intelligent with the flow and original, extremely original. You know, unlike now, originality was a staple. You know, and you had to be original, or you literally got outcast. No pun intended.
He was a biter.
You couldn't even, man. You couldn't even have a voice. Rest in peace to Magoo. But I always say the only reason I feel Magoo didn't really blow is because he had that Q-Tip tone to his voice. And at that time, you couldn't sound like Q-Tip has such an original tone that to sound a little bit like him, it was like, oh, you a biter, you know what I'm saying? And as we grew up, you start back and you listen to some of those old Timberland joints, you'd be like, you know what, Magoo, I hear Magoo's own thing, but that's how serious it was. You couldn't sound, you had to be extremely original. So I'll just say, in the beginning, it was all about us showing that we can stand out with our originality. We was heavy on that.
Amen. How often did you guys rehearse?
Oh, we were a super rehearsed group. EP, what you tell me? Like that,
we are and were actually known for our stage show. Like that's what the world knows us for. And so we stay writing in between classes. When we don't go to class, and we should have been in class, we sit at the table writing. And when we finally started performing down there in Jackson and doing shows in little towns in Mississippi, Hattiesburg, Hazelhurst, stuff like that.
And all throughout the South. Yeah. I said, and all throughout the South.
Yeah, all throughout the South. It was so natural when we did our first show. We started rehearsing, but it was just so natural because we were so used to writing with each other. Anyway, like we pretty much, we might have rehearsed a couple of times before our first or second show, and we rehearse maddeningly now. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. We over the years we just became a very rehearsed group, and it showed and proved for us because that's what we got complimented for. Where it was like, man, you guys have a hell of a show, and we knew it was because of the little tidbits that we be working on and be away from the stage.
Yeah.
So you already got the live, you're performing this place and that place, you're starting to build your fan base, people are very familiar with you. But of course in hip-hop there's always another side of this, the recording process. So how did it go? How did you take your live image and bring it to the recording studio? Speak on that process, and what were the early narratives of that?
Naz, I think it was the other way around.
Okay.
I think the studio bred what the live show is.
Okay.
What the live show was then. The energy, it translated to the stage easy.
Okay.
It translated to the stage super easy, and it still does. We always looked at other MCs and other rappers like just checking them out. Even in videos, we would watch them, and we knew like if their shows were garbage because the videos weren't even animated. Like so we always it wasn't even purposeful like it is now. We just always tried to do the opposite of what everybody else was doing and what everybody else was being, because like Greg said, back then it was blasphemy to sound like somebody else. It was. And that's what makes, we talked about this in the last part, such a dope ass era, because nobody sounded the same. And you could get you may not like one rapper, but that didn't mean
something happened. We lost it.
Playing some dope stuff right now.
Oh man.
Okay. You know what I mean?
Wait a minute. You was gone. You've been gone for a minute.
Yeah.
I was saying you can. What made the 90s so dope is that you can go over here and get some Far Side. You can go down here get some UGK. You can go over here and get some Tribe. You know what I mean? Everything was different. So even if you didn't like one thing, you might find something that grabbed you because nothing was the same. And for us, we didn't really gravitate towards like one particular facet of hip hop. We just liked the shit that was dope. If it wasn't dope, we didn't like it. You know what I mean? And we know, as being music fans, any genre of music, if it's dope, it stands the test of time. It doesn't mean like you don't have to just close yourself off to hip hop. You know, you but if it's good music and you like music, you're gonna like the song, you're gonna like the group, you know, and that's one of the things. Like, we listen to Nirvana, we listen to Red Hot Chili Peppers, you know what I mean? We listen to everything. We listen to everything, and all the dope shit. Everything that was dope in the 90s, we listened to. Brand new heavies.
I mean, Mary J,
brand new
sure,
heavies.
everything.
You know,
brand new heavies.
You know.
Yeah. We had plenty house music being from Chicago. We had lots of house music.
Man, let's not.
You couldn't even in Chicago. You would be lying in Chicago if you're from Chicago and you try to say. I mean, the new generation now can say it, but the golden era of hip hop. If you tried to say, man, I'm just straight hip hop, I never liked house music, you lying. You lying, because everybody who hip hop was house heads. All of the house heads just converted over to hip hop. We was already, being a house head, you was already unafraid to dance. You was already unafraid to like let.
And you like disco.
Yeah,
you like disco because you can't like house without liking disco.
Yeah, and we call, so in Chicago, disco we call it deep house. You know, and so. Bottom line, I'm just saying, like, you couldn't be hip hop without being house. So you're gonna have some house music in your repertoire if you was a hip hop head in Chicago. You know,
ladies and gentlemen, I've never been to Chicago, but one of the names that I grew up listening to and still play, Steve Silk Hurley.
Silk,
that's one of the many.
That's my man. That's about Silk, my man. Like, your
body is mine.
Let me tell you about Silk and Abstract Mind State. Silk loved us. Silk loved us. Silk discovered us at I never forget, we was doing a show at the Shark Bar. Chicago had a Shark Bar. And Silk, man, we got off stage. He poured us to the side like, yo, it was our live show again. And to this day, man, I'm cool with Steve Silk Hurley to this day because of our live performance. So yeah, he's one of the legends. He's one of our legends.
Man, that's huge, man. That's some applause right there, man. Yeah, house legend, ladies and gentlemen, for sure. Yeah. So let's talk about this album that still is knocking down doors, turning heads, and people are paying attention. Dreams Still Inspire.
Yeah.
On the process of how this album came, because I'm reading when Edition told me about this, I quickly did all my research. This album was so dope; it was getting coveted album of the year.
Yeah.
That's a very hard thing to obtain for a first ever album out the box to be stamped with that. Wow. Right. Speak on the process of how this album came about, and we'll get into all the origins that put in the pieces in play to get in there. But tell me the original narrative when this album was being put together.
Well, I can start off by saying we weren't a group at the time. Gre had started working with Ye. He was an A&R. Was you the A&R for Good Music then?
Yeah, I was. Yep,
yeah, and I was, back here at the crib in Chicago, living my life, So I get up one morning, getting ready to go to work, and I get a call from Olskool, and he says, and now mind you, it's been 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
In between the last time we did.
Well, 16 from 16,
that.
Right, 16.
So Gre, he calls me. He said, "What you doing?" I was like, "Getting ready to go to work." He say, "Man, Kanye want to put us out, put us back out." I said, "What?" And so listen, it was a jarring conversation to say the least, and I didn't believe it, and he had to convince me, much like Ye had to convince him, because I was done. I was done rapping. I was done with music, like because so my only part that I played in music was MCing. Like I wasn't producing. I wasn't trying to be no A&R. I didn't have anything other than to do with music except writing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so when Greek called me, I was done. I was done with music. I had just like a couple of days before. It was crazy. I'm telling you, God is, man. A couple of days before Greek called me, I had got up to get ready to go to work. I looked in the mirror, and this came out of the blue. I looked in the mirror, and I said it to the mirror. I was like, okay, hip hop gone. It's gone. It's out of my system, because I'm you know what I'm saying? I'm degreed up now. I'm moving around, I'm doing me, trying to progress, professionally outside of music.
Mm-hmm.
And so when he called me, I just laughed, because I had literally just said 48 hours prior that I'm done with it.
Yeah.
And here you are calling me, telling me the biggest name in music wants to put us back out.
Wow.
And so it took Gre about 28 minutes to convince me that it was real. And it was tripped out, because I was like, so when he want me to come out? Can you come out here today? I was like, I can't come today. I was like, tell him I can come, I can come the following weekend, Friday or Saturday or something like that. And the funny part about it is just as long as it took Gre to convince me, that's about how long it took Kanye to convince him to even call me.
Wow.
I didn't think he was serious. Like it. And I kept saying, like, are you serious? Like, it just seemed like a joke. And like, it was a real, at that time, it was a very light, playful time and space for us and him at that time, and I was just like, this dude is joking. I thought it was a joke. And he had to keep telling me, no, I'm serious. Like, bruh, like, no, like, and I'm like, hold on, man, and I'm like, so you want me to call EP? You know what I'm saying? And he like, yes, like, and we just kept going back and forth until I was like, all right. And I'm still waiting for him to be like, man, I'm just messing with you, man. Like, come on, let's go do what we got to do. And he's like, okay, like, and allow me to like go ahead and do whatever. And so I called her, and then I called him back. And even when I called him back after convincing her, I was like, yo, she said, because it was like she said, it was a Wednesday. It was like the middle of the week. And he wanted her to come right at that moment, like, go get on the plane. And she came that weekend, and I said, she can't come today, bro. But she said she can come by the weekend, like Saturday or something, Friday, Saturday. He was like, all right, that's cool. I was like, all right, well, let me go and tell her. So I had to call her back, like, okay. So once I did that, I was like, okay, I think he's serious, And before you know it, EP was out here. We was laughing about it and talking like, man, I don't, our thing was, or at least my thing that when I started talking to her and trying to convince her that it's real, and also saying, let's just take this chance. Because in the beginning, I wasn't going to do it either. Like, it sounded crazy to me at the time. I'm like, man, at our age, what we look like trying to put out a record. But I can say I was caught. I let the ageism that infiltrated hip hop for some years now get to me, and felt like I couldn't, or shouldn't. I shouldn't say couldn't, shouldn't, that I shouldn't do it at my age. And it was something about it. Me and EP always, our group started off, we called ourselves Abstract Mind State, the Misfits of Dialogue. That was our whole name at one time. And like EP said earlier about us not ever wanting to fit in, and we used to check everybody else out just to make sure we always going the opposite way they're going. Well, that's how I had to check myself about the opportunity that was presented. I was saying, here I am acting like, I was like, no, let's be different then. Let's be the artists that come out at our age and change the game and help destroy ageism, because hip hop is the only genre that plays with the ageism as hard as it does, or did. I say did now because I don't know if you feel the energy or see it, but after this whole hip hop 50, the last year with hip hop 50, the age thing is it's beautiful. It hasn't been much of a conversation since then. No. And it was almost like the kids highly respected it. And then we went through that period where it's still kind of going, where the elders or the legends were filling up more concerts and bigger venues than the kids, So I don't know, something happened where the ageism conversation just played itself out. And I jokingly say that me and EP is responsible for that. You know what I'm saying? I always joke because I was like, the energy that pushed us back into the game opened the door for it to be okay. You know?
I totally agree. I have to I want to piggyback off that because the Grammys or whatever just had a hip hop celebration not that long ago. The best part about that was when Diggable Planets, Black Thought, Arrested Development, that particular show was the one that got the most applause.
That was the best part of the entire Grammys.
Era. Like,
that was the best part. Yeah.
The conscious era, a lot of people really sleep on, and I hate calling it the conscious era or the nerdy era or the pack era, but it was like all the groups within that circle: Far Side, Jurassic 5, Diggable Planets, The Roots, just to name a few.
Right.
It wasn't that they were doing something so impactful, even though it was, but every last one of them, including yourself, had something to say. Because I'm sorry, I'm from the time where content and what you said meant everything. Like literally, De La Soul came out in '89 with Potholes in My Lawn. People to this day are like, what the hell did they mean by potholes?
Right.
Hip hop is the lawn, and the potholes are the MCs that are messing it up for the ones.
That's Olskool's favorite group.
And hip hop. Get the daisies for the potholes in my line. Oh man. Man, we when I say we, I mean specifically Abstract Mind State. If it wasn't the saying something part of hip hop, I probably wouldn't even be in it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just great that's just an incredible platform to say something that means something and be lyrical. Like me and EP, we really are serious about being lyrical while saying something. Like we never wanted to lose that. We didn't, because that's why we don't come off preachy. You listen to our records and people don't even realize, like, you know, this is what I always said about us. People say we're, you know, when you use the term conscious or positive, they called us positive because we just wasn't negative. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the way I always looked at it. We wasn't on anything negative. We wasn't falling into the negative stereotypes, using the negative stereotypical names. Never we want to feel good and feel good about what we're doing.
So I think that's one of the reasons why, and we'll speak on Kanye very briefly, why he wanted to really work with you guys, because when College Dropout came out, that's the same thing he was trying to do. He's like, yeah, everyone knows that I can produce. I know that part, but I want to show that I can rhyme, actually saying something that's full of content and full of intelligence, and still at the same time be impactful to what the culture of hip hop is. In the early 2000s, we really didn't have that. In the 90s, we had a whole smorgasbord of that. But in the 2000s, we really didn't have all that much. Yeah, you had your Cardinal Officials and your Royce the 5'9s and so on and so on. But everyone else was really just trying to mainstream and make money, with the exception of maybe a Luda or a Fabulous or someone who's connected to the underground. But then Kanye came with College Dropout and opened up the doors for lyrical mastery once again. And he was crazy with it. He was wearing blazers and corduroys and loafers, but still
he was dressed like he was from Chicago.
I got the bounce like hydraulics. What?
Yeah, he was real Chicago polo preppy, because that was a Chicago. Everything about him was Chicago. The sped up samples, that was a Chicago production style, but he made it famous. But every Chicago producer at the time was doing that, but he made it famous. All of the fly guys in Chicago, or fly girls, was rocking a polo and, you know, had the preppy, like they'll do even like that with a blazer and the jeans with some fly gym shoe, backpack. You know, it was preppy. You know, preppy is always. That's why Ralph Lauren hasn't ever gone out of style, because it's a preppy kind of style that allows you to be grown or young and wear it, you know.
So going back to Dream Still Inspire, now Yeezy wanted to work with you guys. What did this album now? What was the motivation for the album now? Even without Ye, what was still the motivation for Dream?
That was the motivation. That was the motivation. So Dream Still Inspire showed us that we could write again. And with every song that we wrote, they got better and better.
Wow.
We still have a whole nother album of Kanye produced songs. that are
can you read not to just jump on the bandwagon? Will you be able to release it, or is there stuff holding?
I mean, they're ours, but we probably will never release them.
Yeah, they're ours. We own them, but we'll probably never release them. Yeah, like she said.
Yeah.
And it's like sample stuff. It's we can't even.
Right.
But like that was the motivation, because like we like, okay, these songs keep getting better and better. Why stop?
Yeah.
Why stop? And so when Young RJ, man,
I can say that I can say this. With the last album, because it was an amazing piece of work, like you said earlier, we got the AOTY stamp on several blogs and publications, to the point that when we got the AOTY and they kept saying this album is AOTY, I can be honest and say we didn't
know what that meant.
We didn't even know what it meant. I had to start making calls like, why are they saying our album is AOTY? I didn't know. Like, I'll be honest.
We 50, Dad.
Yeah, we 50. We thought I thought we was getting disrespected. I didn't know what, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, our album is AOTY. I was like, what does that mean? And then it was our DJ, Self-Born, our tour DJ and good friend. He said he didn't know either. But then he just we kept messing with it, all of us. And then he said, oh, I got it. I was like, what? He's like, bro, album of the year. And I was like, whoa, now the weight of it hit us, and me and EP like, oh, now it's hitting us now, because we like, dang, they saying we album of the year, like several. You saw it, you can Google it, several. So with that being said,
they didn't lie.
It was an excellent piece of work. A lot of people just couldn't believe that we still like had it like we did. You know what I mean? And I guess he thought so, you know. But here's the thing. The record didn't. Part of the motivation of like RJ messing with us is RJ felt that record should have gotten a lot more than it got. It should have got a lot more exposure than it got. We felt that way. Now I'm not just putting it. We definitely felt that way. But a producer of RJ's caliber, coming from such a legendary collection like Slum Village, you know, he just felt like, yo, man, there's no way that y'all record should have just got, you know, mishandled like that. And he got inspired by that and said, man, let me get a shot at doing the exact same thing. I want to produce y'all whole album. And we was like, what? That slum sound? Are you serious? Like that you know, that slum sound that we love so much. We're the Midwest. We're Chicago and Detroit as cousins, right?
Yeah.
And I like the famous thing, my new thing that I say now in a lot of the interviews, because I was trying to figure out what is the latency, what is that lag, that whole Slum Village Dilla sound that makes us like almost we can't escape it. And it's the latency, it's the way it drags. And I say it's the soul, right? But this is what I figured out. Chicago soul, it's the head nod. You know how we head nod, right? Yeah. Chicago soul or any soul anywhere, it's a head nod, just like this. We nod in our head, right? And we groove and we frowning our face up. But Detroit's soul is that Biggie head nod. You kind of throwing your head back like this. And because it has that little drag, that slight bit of latency that makes it not on the grid, so it gives it swing. Yeah. And that's the whole Slum Dilla sound. Yeah. And RJ brought that vibe to already a group that was already into soul and the soulful sound. And he brought that vibe to us and allow us to swim around in the pool that we always, you know, enjoy seeing people swim in from a distance anyway, so to speak, you know.
Amen and amen.
The single is True Story is just a microcosm of the whole album.
Yeah, that's like, not the
True Story is dope. It's a dope ass song, but it's some heat. The name of the album is The Art Project.
Yeah.
Oh man, I like the title of that already. I know I want to go back because I want to talk about We Paid, Let Us In. Real quickly.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
I think the first question I'm going to ask before we get into anything, what was it like? And again, please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm reading from your website. So you worked with Common. Common started making beats for this project.
No. So Still Paying. Common was on Still Paying.
Okay. All right.
Still Paying, and Kanye did beats for Still Paying.
Okay.
He did. Still Paying.
He did beats for. Oh yeah, he did do Still Paying, didn't he?
Yeah.
I forgot. He did. We paid.
And he was on too. Still Paying. Okay. And David Banner and John Legend. Oh. And yeah.
No, Kanye was on We Paid Let Us In.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm just reading it wrong then, but please forgive me for that. But to be in the same room with someone as big as Common, who in my mind I think is really the torchbearer for Chicago, period, hands down. Yeah. This man, before we get into it, I just want to say that I strongly believe that Common, after all this time and so many decades of him being so relevant, still has not received the flowers that he so richly.
Yeah.
I want to talk about a live performance.
He's top 5 now. He's top 5 now. He's top 5. He's top 5 MCs.
He definitely in the top 5. Like,
yeah.
Common made us. He I could say he put the like a stamp on Abstract Mind State that really made us official at home, because we used to do, me and EP did more shows than the average sign artist back then. Like, we was doing 100 shows a year easy. Like we you know what I'm saying? It was like we were a sign act, but we were independent, so we did what we did on purposely or intentional. But Common used to show up at our events. He would show up, and because he really felt we were dope, and he would just show up, and it really made us look good. Because you got to realize, when the city is at our events, because we had the city support, but when you had a city support, but then you look up and you got Common, like you just said, sign artist doing his thing, well respected at that time, already international. Yeah. They like, man, what's up with Abstract Mind State? They got like, and it wasn't just Common. All of the signed groups would be there, but Common would, like you said, Common was like, had the eyes big, like, whoa, like Common is here. And he's always been like that with us. If you talk to Common about Abstract, he'll say some very flattering things. He always showed us love.
Amen and amen. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just now tuning in, Abstract Mind State is here, dropping jewel after jewel after. I'm learning so much. Y'all have a new fan now. If you ever go on the road again and you need a fossil 50-year-old DJ to stand behind you, let me know, man. Let's try to the direction that you guys are going in now for 2024 with the re-release of the first album and the projects to come after it. What keeps y'all relevant and hungry in 2024?
I guess for me, it's providing what we were provided, like in the 90s and the late 80s, like something different, because everything sounds exactly the same. It's kids and adults, the 20 somethings that have never heard a real hip hop song. They think Lil Durk is hip hop. You know what I mean? Like I fucks with Durk, but like that ain't what I do. You know what I'm saying? And it's just giving a person a variety of different stuff, and it's cathartic to be able to tune into something that you haven't heard and learn something. Like you're never supposed to spend a day in your life and not learn one thing. When you like your whole day, you're supposed to learn at least one thing. You know what I mean? And like one of the things that I still have a hard time doing it, and Gre will tell you this, I like battling. Like I can't freestyle to save my fucking life, but I'll write a motherfucker into the pavement. But so I like doing that, and I don't hear it.
Yeah,
I don't hear it. So you can't really like what you don't hear, right? Unless you do it. So it's somebody out there that don't listen to hip hop because they don't like what they hear.
Yeah.
But when they hear Dreams Still Inspire, they're going to go back and listen to Still Paying, We Pay, Let Us In. Then they're going to listen to the Art Project.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're going to fall in love with hip hop.
Amen. Mm-hmm. Amen. Ice.
No, that's the, I mean, she said it like that's the inspiration, I think, for me, just like she said, piggybacking off of that is just still bringing that good, relevant. We used to always say when it feeds your soul, your spirit, and your mind, and it feel good, we call it food, you know. So to still be able to give you that good food through the music, and just like I could say it's nostalgic that we get to still. Specifically, we get to still put it out here and give it a shot for all the times that didn't go right, because we're a group that went through a series of what I like to say we suffered a series of almost. We almost were the biggest thing in Chicago. We almost had some of the biggest situations in our lives that could have changed. We almost had investors several times over.
Yeah.
And it was the missing piece to why, like a record like Still Paying, our second sophomore album that never came out. It was all
they had all those people on it that we named.
Yeah, we had all of the biggest artists at their biggest. Those artists were at their zenith at that time. Yep. Kanye was at his height. Kanye was at his height.
Now, what year was the second? What year was this?
The second album was 2005.
Okay. Yep.
And
so this is like this was like what was College Dropout when what?
No, at that time he was huge. By 2005 was late, because matter of fact, he was working on late registration. You know, it was late registration because we did a mixtape to try to supplement the time.
Yeah,
we were trying to buy time. We ended up putting 2 mixtapes out trying to buy time, thinking we was to try to get Still Paying out. And he was supposed to get on this song on the mixtape on Chicago's Hardest Working Volume 2. It was called Creeping. And he ended up because he was working so hard on late registration, he didn't get it. But he left a voicemail talking about don't send the record to the CD presser yet. That's when we were still pressing CDs. And he was like, I'm gonna do the verse, and he was playing around. And instead of him being on the song, at the end of the song, we put that voicemail at the end because me and EP. One thing that I know, me and EP, like we like a crazy group. Like we real
know how to market.
Yeah, like we real silly. Like, and we know how to market, yes. But I'm talking about just our personalities. We like 2 comedians in a rap group or something. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because all we do is crack jokes and we just act so crazy. And the spirit of that is trapped in our music, along with consciously making sure that we stay lyrical, making sure we're saying something, you know what I'm saying, and giving you a little food. So I think for me, I would say just the nostalgia of still having a shot to give you what we felt like y'all missed from us. We get that we got another chance right now in 2024.
And we're about to we leave for tour on the 1st. We're doing a European tour. We'll be gone a month. We got 28 days?
Yeah, 28 days. We actually be going a month and a week. So it's crazy.
Hearing that narrative that you guys just described, you guys literally remind me of Little Brother in every sense. The humor, the off the wall antics, the strength of your vocals, the live performance, everything. It's like when Little Brother left 9-10 years ago, the void, there was a huge void that needed to be filled. And then they came with May the Lord Watch, and I'm just like, thank you. And it's like they picked up right where they left off, as if they never left. And you guys have that same narrative. It's like you're about to head on tour and literally pick up right where you left. It's like, we're going to leave this spot here. We're going to come back to it. Nobody's going to fill the void that we was able to do. We don't care how old we are. We don't care how seasoned we are, because even at 50, and I've been DJing for almost 30 years, I'm still learning something new every day about the culture of DJing. And how to control the crowd, and when to speak, and when to play a certain song, when to transition, when to do this. You never, ever stop learning. And I, like you said, if you can't go a whole day without learning something, then what is your purpose for being in this culture in whatever form?
Yeah.
So man, I love you guys. Can I come on? Man, listen.
Man, we appreciate it. And we love, you know what, look, you named another group. Little Brother is another one of those groups that, man, they have the vibe too, and they moved us like Slum. Little Brother for me took up the space when I needed to finally take Slum Village out of rotation. Then Little Brother would get, you know.
Amen. So going forward, you're about to do this tour, and I'm sure there's a whole bunch of new music that you all have locked away for the masses to hear that we can hear. And I don't want to say when it's all said and done, because there's really no when it's all said and done. But
no, it don't look like it, Daz. It don't look like it.
It don't look like it, right? Yeah, they already locking me an EP in the studio for another record, and we ain't even got the first one out yet. I mean, this one out yet.
So when you guys get the chance to take the time and just exhale for a moment, just to look back, what do you guys want? And I don't want to say remember like you're gonna like it's done, but what do you guys want to? If you were to say, all right, you got a room of your peers with a notepad, write down what you feel our mark was on the game. What do you think people will say about you?
Perseverance.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yep. One of the things Common said, and I've been sharing this in the last couple of interviews as well. I met him at the bookstore of just not even a month ago. I don't think it was. He has a new book out, and I went to support him, and he was doing a book signing at the Westfield Mall in Culver City, California, and that's not far from where I live in LA. So I said, man, I got to go up here and support the homie, you know. And I called myself trying to sneak up there and surprise him. And I did it. I pulled it off. And he was just, he was like, But what he said to me was very complimentary to Abstract Mind State. Mm-hmm. He said, I'm so glad y'all still doing it. I'm glad y'all doing another album. I'm glad y'all not stopping. And he had his hands out like this, and he was talking with his hands. And he said, man, what I love about Abstract Mind State is y'all never stop doing the music that he did this. He said, y'all never stop doing the music that we do. And he did it from his chest to my chest, like that's what we do. Y'all never stopped it. He said, I love that about y'all. Because he was just pretty much saying that through it all, because he know we've been through a lot, and those around, we still maintain, like EP would say, we still maintain the flow, you know. We never left the flow, you know.
Man, I'm so thankful to have done this interview with you guys, just to hear y'all speak. Hearing the music is one thing, but actually hearing y'all talk in slow time where we can process information and really listen to the energy and the passion that you have for it really has exuded throughout this whole interview. So I want to thank y'all for doing that. I got a few more questions, and I'm gonna let you go because my wife is cooking. I can smell it through the door. I got her to get down there and eat this food. We've lost a lot of great leaders that were birthing us as we were growing up. And most recently, and I'm still shocked to know that Boss is no longer with us.
Yeah,
now.
Man, Boss. Yeah. Man. I love the Boss. I love the Boss.
I was talking to my friend while I was getting my oil check, and I was like, do you realize that Boss, Lauryn Hill, and Rod Digger all have the same thing in common? They all dropped one album, and their careers were basically set in stone because of those three classic albums: Born Gangsters, Miseducation, and Dirty Harriet. Amazing. But back to the question, which loss impacted you both respectively and collectively, and why?
Oh, probably the most recent one was Dave Trugoy of De La Soul. Like, EP and I both, you know, De La Soul is my favorite group, but EP absolutely loves De La. Mm-hmm. And Trugoy, man, that one. I think that one hit. I'm gonna go ahead, EP. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I think that one still like still ain't resonated right. You know what I mean? Like that's and the crazy thing is what Olskool said just the other day. he was like, De La has not ever been this visible.
Right.
Yeah.
That's crazy, because if
Yeah.
you're a spiritual person, your take from it was it took that for them to get they due.
Yeah.
If you believe in
Yeah.
that type of thing, that you know, that reciprocity nature of things, then you could say that couldn't have never happened. Like this dude and this publicity and everything that they're doing, because they on everything. They're on everything.
They are.
It could not have happened if Dave wouldn't have passed. Right?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And you know what's
crazy.
bittersweet? The most bittersweet part about it, and this kind of motivates me too, for me and EP to really get our moment in sharing our art the way it should. We felt it should have been shared a long time ago. Is how De La was stuck in that Tommy Boy situation for so long. They couldn't even put their stuff on the streaming platforms. Like, I'm talking about as soon as they got 20-some years free from that ridiculous deal.
And we just knew another album was on the way.
Right. I'm talking about not even a good week, was it? Wasn't it about a week? And
it was the same week. It was the same week.
And we lost Dave Trugoy, the Dove. We lost him. And it was like, we literally, when I say we lost them, because people like EP and I, like yourself, we lost one of our pillars. Like, we was like, man,
that's like my mama lost Marvin Gaye.
Right,
you know
exactly. Exactly.
I remember my mama crying and getting
I was gonna say that.
to go to the funeral and everything.
That's funny. We never talked about that, EP. My mother cried because remember they announced it on the radio. I was riding.
Yeah, and I didn't know till I got home from school.
Oh man, and she cried, and I was looking at my mother.
I walked in, my mama was crying. I was like, "What's going on?" And my sister was like, "Marvin Gaye died," and I was like, "I was scared too," because I was listening to him, but you know.
Yeah, so, but that's what it was with Trugoy, with the Dove, with Dave, and it's
I want to say my parents were big Earth, Wind, and Fire fans, and my dad, when he was fighting in the wars back in those days, they were in Tokyo, and he flew my mom out for them to see them in Tokyo, and then Maurice White, passes away, years and years later.
Yeah.
And I never got to see Earth, Wind, and Fire live at all. And I was asked to go see him. I'm like, as much as I would love to, I can't go to the show now. I was like, what you mean? I'm like, it's just not the same without Maurice.
Right.
So fast forward to De La. I remember I was watching an Instagram live with Trugoy in the hospital. And I'm getting better, y'all. And I didn't even know what he was going through.
Right.
Better. I'm going to be out. And then I hear that De La's doing 2 albums, one produced by Pete Rock and the whole album produced by Premier. And I'm like, man, you can't tell me. Like, we need that now. Can we?
Right now, today.
Right.
And they were fighting Tommy Boy, and a lot of people didn't know the situation with Tommy Boy, and I'm sure that Naughty by Nature and House of Pain and everybody else that was on, they was probably going through the same thing,
except Latifah.
And then they're going through it, and they're fighting to get their masters, and I'm hearing the story little by little, and I'm like, how long have they been going through this? And then they finally get to that moment where the clock strikes midnight. They got all this stuff.
Yeah.
And right before it happens, like you just said, Dave is gone. It's like, so he spent all that time dealing with this,
man,
doing independent albums, trying any way to make money, and now the moment is here, and he's not here to enjoy the fruit.
Yeah. And that's sad. It's sad. It's a sad moment. That's a sad moment for hip hop. Because I wanted to see him, EP and I, we wanted to see him get their just due, like they are now, like the way they are now, without him being here. They are like, man, more people know about him now. It's kind of like the same thing happened with Dilla and MF Doom. It's like,
and same thing happened with and Nipsey, even though he's not as
man,
the way
Nipsey.
that he was taken out. Like,
Nipsey.
dude, you on the street corner in front of one of your establishments, holding your son's hand, and you get gunned down. Like, what?
And Nipsey, just to speak on Nipsey, because I was out here, I'm out here, I'm around his store and all of that, and I just say this: Nipsey was actually about to do what I felt like Tupac had the potential to do, but he was just
he was doing it. Oh yeah,
Nipsey was doing it. He was mobilizing street guys and changing the mentality of gangbangers and street dudes and taking them to this level of entrepreneurialism that had. You know what I'm saying?
He had them ops scared.
Yeah. He had them scared. Nipsey had him scared because he was changing it a little too fast for their taste, and in a way that hadn't been seen yet because he was of all of that stuff, but he was giving them a new way. And I know, we can go with that. We know what Nipsey's death was. We know what that was.
We definitely know what that was.
We know what that was.
So in these interviews,
yes,
we always get asked our favorite this and favorite that. And I can say Infamous.
Oh.
All Hail the Queen.
Oh.
De La Soul first album. Those in my life have impacted me more. Those three right there, All Hail the Queen, is still like I love Miseducation, but Miseducation didn't start me to rapping.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like when I first heard Latifah, I was like, this is it for me. And I wasn't, and this ain't no knock on. Everybody had their favorite, or they. With me, I wasn't a Light fan. I was a Latifah fan. Like because I wasn't
a Light fan either.
In that studio, that writing, wasn't nobody fucking with Dana Owens. Not period. Like man, she was a man. She was man. Yeah. And when you would hear her, with Daddy-O, like hearing her hold her own with dudes on the record with her. Like you, like, oh my gosh, she
had daylight on there. Mama gave birth to the soul children.
Wait, Bob. You talked about Latifah. Let's talk about the Black Rain album in '93.
Okay.
Great album. But she was on a song with Tretch, Heavy D, and KRS.
And what happened to them?
And held
it
with all three of those heavyweights.
I can never front on Latifah. Like, I actually liked Light, but Latifah for me, and at the time I had a rap partner named Aunt Chill. Man, we were so gone on Latifah because Aunt Chill used to buy 12 inches, and I only bought 4 albums. I only bought cassettes. The whole. I bought cassettes.
We still got them all.
No, I bought cassettes. Yeah.
I'll keep talking. I'm gonna show y'all something. Keep talking.
Look on them, Gree.
Look, I see her pulling something off the wall. Don't make me. I see that All Hail the Queen.
He got that wax.
I see Heavy D. All Hail the Queen. I saw it on the other side.
No, that wasn't All Hail the Queen. Jazzy Jeff.
Oh, that was Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince.
And this is the first album that really got me started. This is the first one.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, X-Clan, wasn't that was 89, wasn't it? Wasn't X-Clan 89?
Heavy D was the big time was 89.
Yeah.
DJ I'm the Rapper was 88 and X-Clan 1990. Yep.
I love arguing with people over who we call Will Smith now, but Fresh Prince was so dope. Like,
absolutely.
And see, I was on Fresh Prince from Rock the House.
Yeah.
Where he was with Reddy Roxy. And and Will pull it. Will done showed him. He done pulled that thing out a couple times and showed him that like he still. Will was dope. Like
Will was very, very.
He was very, very dope.
What he's doing now as an MC, Will Smith will always be really incredible,
super relevant.
Yeah,
and he was so like, sometimes your intelligence don't translate through your music.
Yeah,
but your moves outside the music translate your intelligence.
Right.
He did
that. And you know what was dope? Like to see, okay, so we can think about it. The people that we talking about, when they moved into a different part of the art, they became huge.
Yeah.
Ice-T's a huge Ice Cube, LL Cool J, Queen Latifah, and Will Smith, Fresh Prince. Yeah. They all are amazing A level actors, A level, their level of it is amazing, and they were some of our best MCs. You know what I'm saying? So
let me just add one more to that, because I think they did it before Will, Kid and Play.
Oh, definitely.
Oh yeah.
100%. 100%. Kid and Play were the truth. See, okay, so just to speak on that, like, we even what made our era fun, and like I said, it's not an our era against now era. I'm just saying, even our quote unquote commercially successful artists still had to rap good. Like, now, the problem with my issue now is you don't have to rap good to be a commercial success. And you did. You had to, like, honestly, let's go there. Listen, let's go there. You am I right, EP? Let's go there. You cannot like Tone Loc, but you can't deny Tone Loc could rap really good. I had Loc After Dark. That was a great album. You can say
you can deny MC Hammer, but
you can deny Hammer was dope. Listen, and we were just
Hammer had that formula.
Yeah, we were just caught
up.
You can
make a motherfucker dance.
He had the formula, and I name another one. And the funny thing is, his pen game is behind several, and that was Young MC. We back then we wanted to dish Young MC, but he wrote for some of our favorites. He was the pen behind some of our favorites. So
absolutely. Absolutely.
It's all about, like EP was saying, writing. That's what you heard. I kept saying writing. Man, it's all about the writing, and that's when these kids be like, oh man, y'all, man, OG, y'all just hate. I'm like, nah, man, y'all not writing. That's my problem. We enjoy writing. We enjoy good writing. It's almost like saying what makes a good book or a good movie good? The writing. And
like another part of that is you got some people, some rappers that are out now, not MCs, but rappers that are out now that when you hear something, like every now and then they'll say some super dope shit, and then my comment, I'll be on some sarcastic shit like, if you just would have picked up a book, like if you could just pick up some more books, you might be able to hold my attention. You might be able to hold my attention. But right now, you just a drive by. You're just a drive by. I'm not staying at your crib. I can't. You just a drive by. I'm not staying. I'm not coming over.
Man. Those people we're talking about hold the attention. And it's some now, like we always like to name the nouns they hold our attention. Like Joey Badass, incredible. Corday, incredible. JID, incredible. J. Cole, incredible. Rhapsody is incredible. Tierra Whack is incredible. Shay Noir is incredible. You get what I'm saying? Like, Rock Marciano is incredible. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
but those are not like mainstream. You gotta find them.
Yeah, and the guys, and even, I even love what Griselda did for the game, because Griselda for me is the equivalent of what Mobb Deep did for us back then. It was like you got this super street hip hop, but man, it's lyrical and it's good. And they storytelling.
And they don't sound like
nobody. It's dark. Mobb Deep was dark. Griselda is dark, extremely lyrical.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Extremely lyrical, dark, and original. Extremely lyrical, dark, and original. That was Mobb Deep. They was a lyrical, dark, and original. And it's the same formula. If you writing, you don't have to be, because the Griselda boys, although they've been hustling a long time, they just really, I guess, but what they say, shaving, getting their time right now. They're having their moment,
It is their time, definitely, and I'm so glad that they're getting the success that they so richly deserve. And they're
I think there's a lot of people come out right now that's different.
Yeah.
They're gonna win. They're gonna win, because although these kids like listening to what's out, they will also like some difference, but they just don't have it.
Yeah, they don't have it.
They're not so close-minded to, we're not gonna listen to that, but they have to be able to hear it to like it.
Yeah. And I don't blame the kids as much as I blame the financial resources behind what's hot. You get what I'm saying? And you notice I didn't say record labels. I said financial resources behind what's hot. Because whatever the platform or resource is, it don't have to be a label nowadays, but they keep funding the same thing. So I can't completely blame the generation because like EP just said, if they heard more of these people that move us, they would like it because they not that. It proved to me and EP when we dropped Dream Still Inspire, I was definitely taken aback and caught by surprise that all our entire fan base was young.
Yeah, those are our first calls, our first hit. Like they was going crazy. We expected just the opposite.
Yeah, we did. We can admit that right now. We expected a golden era generation to be like, oh man, y'all giving us a breath of fresh air. No, that wasn't who. I'm talking about EP. What you tell them? They were young. We talking 14 years old. We talking I'm talking 14 to early 20s. Absolutely going crazy.
Let me ask you that then. So a 14, 15, 16-year-old approaches you after the show. What kind of flowers were they giving you to give you the
man? They was telling us one dude got so emotional. He said our song changed his life. He was about to. Somebody said that what he was about to do was something very negative they was about to do because they was going through something, and our record gave them hope and all of this. Because I don't know the thing you just said why you liked Heavy D so much because you said he found a way to be lyrical because he didn't curse. Listen to Dream Still Inspire. We don't curse.
I curse a lot in real life, but I don't curse on. Curse it ain't a curse word.
It ain't a curse word on their record. We don't curse on a new record. You know, the closest thing is you would say something like we'll play with the word like shh, like you know, but don't say it like EP did that on one song. She said shh, you know, and that's about it. But like I said, you know, that's just the place. That's the place where we're in. Where, like you said, Heavy D didn't have to. Me and EP too intelligent. EP definitely like got a brain on us. So it's kind of like we got so many words and know so much information that it's fun to let that out in our, you know, through our art. We're able to get all these words we learned over the years and all of this. Man, you should see us writing. We be going so far because we like to have double and triple entendres. Sometimes quadruples. We'll pull off a quadruple every now and then.
Well, I got five. I got five on Gravity. Bar Louie. On Bar Louie, I got five. I started counting. I was like 3, 4. I was like, oh, he ain't on the album. You ain't got five in there. You ain't got five. I got five.
A cinco entendre.
That's what I got.
Man. You know what? Hold up. Before we go, I think every week we should just have a conversation like this off air. I'm really loving the energy. My last question to y'all before we go, before you plug your social medias and all that. Favorite verse of all time from that you've heard over the years. Go. Favorite verse.
Ooh. Favorite verse.
I'll tell you mine after you all do yours.
Why we say favorite verse? Oh my God, I got it.
Oh, you know what? What are the ones for my favorite verse? EP, I'm about to get you when I say this because you're gonna go, ooh. I think, and it's all like the way me and EP like to write. It's Common's Watermelon. The wordplay on watermelon. I'm gonna have to give it to the home team. That Watermelon, he just really went in.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, Hyper when I feel it. Yeah, he went crazy.
You know what I'm saying? Hyper when
so one of my, I can't say it's my favorite because my head, you got me with that one.
Yeah, because it's all he stuffed the lyrics in there.
Stopped at the mall the other day. Got a call from around the way.
Oh, right.
Somebody was saying something. Hey, elevator.
Oh, yeah, elevators. Yeah, Dre 3000 elevators.
Oh, I said, when I heard that, I was like, what?
Yeah, he really. Not really. That boy said, no, not really.
Facial expression looking silly, and they kept asking.
I know y'all.
Check this out. Okay, Daz, before we get off, let me tell my Andre 3000 moment.
You gotta play true story too, Daz, before we leave.
So Dream Still Inspire was out. I was at a car wash out here in LA. It's real close. We'll say it's between Culver City and Venice. And I'm at the car wash and I'm looking at this guy over on the bench. I'm talking to my buddy, my our low season brother, Rodney. And I'm looking at this guy and across on the bench from me, and I'm cracking a joke, and I'm saying, man, who is this Andre 3000 looking dude right here? And he laughing because my guy he from Mississippi, but he lived in Atlanta for almost 20 years. And so I was like, wait a minute. And I started looking at him. I said, bro, this is Andre 3000. He was like, you lying. I was like, no, it is. He's like, go say something to him. I was like, no, I'm not. I said, because I'm already, I said, he looked happy that don't nobody know who he is. I was picking that up. So anyway, long story short, I kept walking past him. I had to walk past him once because it looked like the guy was telling me my car was ready, but he was talking about a car by my car. So I had to walk back past him again. So that's 2 times, once past him back. And I still didn't say nothing. And I'm just staring over at him. And then I saw him messing around with his backpack and he pulled that big wood flute out. And I knew it was him then. I was like, oh, the flute, that is definitely Andre 3000, right? Wow. And so bottom line is, I started playing a game with myself. It was called What Car is Andre 3000 Driving? So I was trying to, this is real. This is real. I was trying to like figure, because I was thinking he was going to be in like some strange pickup truck or just something, Andre 3000 eclectic. This is what I was just trying to stereotype, like him being so under the radar that he's going to be probably driving like the last thing you expect. I was wrong. He was in a white Range Rover. It was brand new and it was, I was wrong. But anyway, his Range Rover was parked behind my Rubicon, and I couldn't back out. So I'm looking at him through the mirror because they done told us our car ready at the same time because we both got detail. So he's sitting behind me and he putting his backpack in his flute. He laying his flute down, gentle. He was doing so much in the car, and I'm watching him through my side view mirror, and I'm hyping myself up saying, oh, well, what I left out was on another pass by when we finally got our cars, I just said, yo, Dre, I just respect. He looked up to me. I said, man, I just want to say respect, I said, yeah, man, I met you a couple of times in the studio with Kanye. And he said, oh, okay. He said, oh, that's what's up. He was like, what's your name, man? I said, I'm Olskool, He was like, okay. And I was like, yeah, man. I said, look, man, get your chill on. Because I could tell he just didn't want, he looked like he was happy to not be bothered. So me knowing etiquette in the game like I am, I knew not to sweat him. So I was like, man, it was just, I just wanted to say respect, bro, chill. He was like, all right, thanks. And so boom, I left him alone. But I'm watching him through this side view mirror saying, I got to let him know who I am. Because I just said, I'm Olskool Ice-Gre. That was all I said. And we got a new album out. And I'm just saying, I'm watching him through the mirror. And I hyped myself up. He finally, after all this messing around in his car, he finally pulled off. But I knew the way he was backing up and he was going to have to curve his car, that he was going to have to look up before he pulled off. So I jumped out the car at the same time he was backing up. And exactly what I thought happened. It's a true story. Both hands to God. He backed up. And when he looked up, I had my finger up like this, and he saw me. And he stopped and he let his window down. And I walked up to the window and I said, let me properly introduce myself. My name is Olskool Ice-Gre from the group Abstract Mind State. And he smiled and sat back. This is real story. He smiled and sat back. He said, you and the girl. And I was like, I said, yeah. I said, yeah. Like, look, I told EP, I didn't know what to do with myself. I almost
told me before he left the damn car wash.
Look, I almost fanned out. I was like, I know. I'm like, yes, me and the girl. That's I'm the me with the girl. Yes.
Wait, hold on. Wait. So say that part again when he pulled the window out you, and then he said, say that part. You said, let me introduce myself. You say your name. Say his response.
I said, let me say nothing. Yes, I said, let me introduce myself proper. My name is Olskool Ice-Gre from the group Abstract Mind State. And he fell back and he smiled. He said, you and the girl. And so when he said you and the girl, I was like, yeah. He said it wasn't done. Hey, Daz, it wasn't done. He said, listen, he said, I was just listening to y'all album.
Wow.
So now I'm halfway froze and I'm trying to be cool and get out my words. But when he said he just listened to our album, I almost lost my everything, right? So I'm just like, and I said, see, man, and that's why And that's why I said, I feel like, man, our record was to show people that ain't no age on this whole vibe thing. I said, dude, I said, man, we over 50 years old and we doing our thing, you know, right now. And I said, I know where you are right now, and you feel like you probably shouldn't do it. I'm just letting you know our album was here to show you that you can. He sat back and he smiled and he said this, Daz, there was one more thing he said. He said, I'm glad I met you today. And I was like, respect. I said, respect.
I heard it coming in. Boy.
And I said, respect. And I let him ride off. And no, I did say one more thing. I said, man, this is my car wash. I said, what are you doing here? He said, man, I live in Venice. He just pointed up the street side. And I didn't know that at the time. I was like, oh, okay. And then I was like, all right, man, respect. And I let him leave. And I called EP then. Boy, I was going crazy. And I was saying to myself, if nothing else, Dre is so random with how he do things. Yeah. I swear it felt like if I would have said something about, because you know, Dre done jumped on records that you wouldn't even think you would hear him on.
Yep.
That's like his style to do that. Yeah. I felt like we were random and odd and original and just odd enough that if I probably would have said, man, Dre, would you be willing to jump? I think he actually would have. I was too like, didn't even want to, I was shook up in that moment. You know what I mean? So
exactly. Wow. Okay. I got nothing else to say. I'll just say that the verse from Double Trouble with him and Most, where Most was like, with the Memorize We Are there was many parts of that song, but the one part that Most put out where he's like, with the Memorize We Your Whole staff pressurized, melt down all of your artificial lies. Y'all
right.
Yellow number 5, swan like mono and die to survive. My vocals got textured, you just texturized. And then this time he says, I'm nicer than you're written even when I improvise. I'm like, what? Respect to Mighty Most Def.
Man, Most Def, man. We
didn't say nothing about.
You know what? We're gonna have to do a part 2 of this.
Oh, man.
In closing, I want y'all to just put out your social medias, how people can follow you, and then we're gonna play True Story as we ride out. So before George, you guys let them know how they can reach out to you online and all that good stuff. Go.
You can reach out to me at EPDA Hellcat. That's my Instagram, IG.
Yeah, and mine
that's the only way.
Yeah, and mine is at I'm not a dilapidated educational institution, so I'm not an old school. I'm old school. So that's at OLSKOOL _ICEGRE. Ice-Gre, Old School Ice-Gre. And the group is just at Abstract Mind State.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Abstract Mind State. And actually, Edition just hit me up on social media saying, how's the interview going? Or are y'all still doing? I'm like, we still good, man. We just talking like we sitting on the stoop right now in the hood right now.
And that's it. Shout out to Edition and the stoop, because that's where it goes down.
This brother and sister is everything. Thank you for bringing them to me. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to play True Story right now.
From the upcoming album, Art Project, produced by Young RJ, Slum Village. Let's go.
Here we go, y'all. Let's play this real quick. Thank y'all. Rap Sheet Podcast 2024. Track Mind State. Hellcat. Hosted Ice-Gre. Here we go. Come on. On all streaming platforms, get this on right now. Hey.
Why so much hate up in your heart, huh? Is jealousy the root of where it start, huh? I've been doing what I do way before we went to school, way before I helped you. Now you thinking you that dude. We draw a plan, but I execute. It's kind of shocking you got nerve trying to electrocute. When I'm the plug, been there for you. Not the other way, what's done in the darkness comes to the light. What my mother say, what a brother say. That ain't your real dog. The way he bit your hand, ain't no love at all. Who needs enemies with friends like y'all? Since the strike got called, I'ma leave you with this epilogue.
right now with the brand new music right here. Abstract Mind State Olskool Ice-Gre. EP the Hellcat. We're gonna shoot on y'all right now. Let's go.
New life is shared from an old soul. This life is only rehearsal. We are a guilty, but don't stop believing it's too late to get a reversal. Don't try to tell me that you cannot do it when you saw me struggle to be more. Bless and connect, road into some directions, didn't show me the detour. Learn your mistakes, don't repeat those. Hesitate to gamble a peak rolls. Keep that hustle, Charlie, perfection. This practice can't win if you're missing your free throws. These are just bars, but ain't no holes. Failure is better than no goals. Be your best critic, but never forget virtuoso. Submit to what God chose.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was True Story right there.
Yeah.
Abstract Mind State is here. That's the newness. Go get it on all streaming platforms. Wherever music from. Tours on the way. You guys mentioned the tour. What cities you going to be traveling to? Whether
first 4 dates is Bologna, Milan, Rome, and some other places.
We're going to
Germany, Belgium.
Wow.
Yeah. We're gonna tear Europe up, you know. And shout out to Dave Ordinary too, co-producer on that joint. Got to give him his love. South Africa in the building. Simpton Daily Motolo, the female vocalist. Man, we got that South African vibe all over that track, you know.
Yeah.
You know, let me ask one last question because and this just came up when you mentioned where you was touring. I had Speech on the show a couple years back. One impactful thing that he said is like the type of music that we do gets more love overseas than it does in the States.
Yes.
Do you agree with that scenario, or do you see things differently? The type of conscious music that we do.
Well, so I agree with that statement that Speech made, and I'll go further to say we are appreciated, loved, honored, revered, held like the queens and kings we are every place else but we built. Every place else in the world. It's true story. No pun intended.
It really is.
Like
pun intended. Pun intended.
Seriously. So that's not. It's. I mean, it's not a coincidence. Like all the MCs from our era, doing the things we love. That's where they live at. That's where they live to, not live physically, but that's where they live at as far as making money. Because you can't do it here because they don't want to hear that. They want to hear that destructive. Destructive. They don't want to hear us build. They want to hear that destruction.
They don't want to build. They want to destroy. So so overseas,
I'm supposed to tear you down because of this who you are. Even though we can make money together.
And honestly, that's what True Story is about. Yeah. We're saying it over this real smooth, good vibe, good feelings. We didn't want it to sound like a sad song. We wanted it to be
or like we preaching. We didn't want that.
Or like we preaching, but we really saying something in True Story and about that very thing about like, man, these individuals we speaking on, we like, you can do exactly what if don't be envious of me, just do you. Yeah. Don't be envious of anybody because we all got equal opportunity out here. We just putting in the hustle, so we getting the results.
Right. Amen and amen. Ladies and gentlemen, at the start of this interview, I had a pounding headache. I just want to say the headache is completely gone now.
Hey, I say we got that medicine.
Shout out to y'all for making this an enjoyable experience. You guys are welcome any time.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Don't thank me for that. I didn't do nothing. All I did was provide the platform.
And there you go, right there. Yes. Thank you.
You guys did the rest. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Olskool Ice-Gre. This is EP the Hellcat, aka
Mind State.
Abstract Mind State. Follow them wherever you get your music from. You will not be disappointed. If you just liked what you just heard, they got a whole plethora of songs of that magnitude. You're doing yourself a disservice if you don't tune into what they're doing. And if they're coming to a city, state, or country near you, go to today's show and see this energy in person. For real.
Yeah.
So come to Kansas City, guys, so I can meet y'all in person.
Man, look.
For sure.
And I do my bars too. I might want
to. Word is there's domestic plans in the works. So we'll see. That's about as far as I speak on that. But a little mouse told us that there's some domestic things in the works.
Man, I would love to have you guys here if that can be possible. Let's just try to make it happen somehow. Thank you so much for your time, guys. I appreciate it.
Go eat, boy.
Yeah.
Thank y'all so much. This has been a great episode of the Rap Sheet Podcast, Season 4, Episode number 5, Abstract Mind State. Thank y'all for taking the time out. We'll see you all again real soon. And yeah, man, I'm about to go eat. The wife is waiting. I'll talk to you. It's been a rap, guys. You know what? Do me a favor too. I'm gonna follow you guys. DM me your emails and your phone numbers so we can definitely stay in touch if that's okay with you.
No, for sure.
All right, y'all. Salute. Peace. We're out of here, yo. Peace and blessings.